Lane 4, Jamaica expected to put out a fabulous time here. Nelson, White, Burchil, McGregor, their squad. Scotland, they will be quick as well. Singapore and India, and the Indian squad with their tails up. Who knows what they can do? On paper, they may qualify, but frankly, with the advantage of some fabulous results bolstering their spirits this morning by other members of their team, we may see India outperform themselves here. So, the Jamaicans, lead-off athlete, that's Nelson, just adjusting her blocks. England took gold 4 years ago on the Gold Coast ahead of Jamaica, and Nigeria in third.
Well, they're still going through their preparations, so let's return our attention to this hammer competition. Meanwhile, the women getting ready for the first of the two semi-finals, top three in each going through to the big showdown.
Well, Jamaica were champions in Scotland in 2014 in those wonderfully organised games in Glasgow, but beaten by England. Bit of an upset that 4 years ago. They'll want to get back on the top of the rostrum, but first they must get that baton round these four athletes. Baton speed is critical. The changeovers need to be smooth, and you can quite often in relays get a squad of moderate talents defeating a squad of super talents if the changeovers are strong. If you can maintain baton speed through keeping it really smooth changeovers, then you can quite often get some rather strange results. Here's the lead-off athlete for the India, Chand. She'll hand over to Das, then Nanda and Iraji. On the outside, they can focus on their own job. The Indian record, 43.37. Singapore go in lane 6. Pereira will hand over to Zaini, then Chandran and Liu.
In lane 5,
Scotland, always good carriers of the baton at the Commonwealth Games. Matheson, Rees, Malone and Spence, their quartet. The Jamaicans, well, they start as favourites here, surely, with Nelson, White, Burchil and McGregor making up their foursome. Their national record, 41.02.
In 3, as a party, Richard, Sufuna and Wingfield.
Here is the Maltese quartet, and the lead-off runner, Azzopardi. She'll hand over to Richard, Skikluna and Wingfield. And then the Maldives on the inside with Hussein, Mohammed, Hassan and Mohammed again making up their foursome.
The first 3 automatically make the final, plus the next 2 fastest across the 2 heats.
Well, the second fastest time ever is by Jamaica. That was last year at the Olympic Games, 41.02. Only the USA have ever gone under 41 seconds. Anything down in the low 42s is very, very crisp. And in fact, only Jamaica have been down there. The Scottish record, for example, 44.35 is the Scottish best this season, 44.35. The first of 2 heats in the women's 4x100 metres. Then the first 3 teams go through by right to tomorrow's final. Maldives in 2, Malta 3, Jamaica going 4 in the yellow, Scotland in 5, Singapore 6, India 7. Away they go, and already Jamaica making up ground on Scotland. Centre of picture, Jamaica almost up alongside Matheson of Scotland. It's been a brilliant leg from Nelson. A safe changeover, not a fast changeover from the Jamaicans. The Scots pretty much matched them, but down the back straight, the second leg runner from Jamaica moving really well at the moment. That is White. She hands over. That was a good changeover from the Jamaicans. Scotland in second, going really well. On the outside, India going pretty well too. It's Jamaica from India at the moment. India having a really good run here. Their backs are up as Jamaica take it over on the final leg. Down the home straight, looking really strong. It's McGregor now, storming away with this. That's an 8 or 9 metre winning margin. India comfortably second, Scotland in third, and a really close battle for the 4th places there, but 43.66 by Jamaica there. Well, it was a safe squad that got it round well enough. Let's hope there are no red flags and that all the changeovers were good for every team. But that was a huge winning margin and an equally huge gap behind India, Rob.
Yes, Scotland getting the best of that battle for the third spot. Wingfield was finishing very quickly for Malta on the anchor leg. The Indians had a very sluggish changeover from third to anchor, but how well did they go down the back straight? They've taken second. Scotland have gone through by a couple of tenths of a second. Singapore and Malta very, very close behind, but we will see the Scottish quartet in the final. The Jamaicans are so good. They've got such a great reputation. The Olympic champions, the silver medalists in Eugene, gold in Glasgow, and they've got Elaine Thompson-Herah, who they can draft into the final. Not a bad name to add to the list, a four-time individual Olympic champion.
Yeah, Thompson-Herah has looked superb all week, hasn't she? Getting fitter all the time. That was a safe changeover from the Indians on the outside. I expected a little more from Scotland. I thought they'd be closer to India, that's for sure. But look at this changeover from Scotland. Oh, awful changeover, final changeover there from Scotland. Looked to me like the outgoing runner went off a little bit early for them. That was Spence. Indeed, they're only just ahead of Singapore, and you'd expect from a well-drilled squad like the Scots a bigger margin. But they are through safely. Sorry, Rob.
Yeah, so
Jamaica,
good, the
India
Jamaicans.
and Scotland.
So good, the Jamaicans. You could see Spence coming under a little bit of pressure there for that third spot with the fast finish of Wingfield from Malta. Watch this last changeover for the Indians, just on the left of picture. Took them a while. Can't quite see her, and also, as you said, it was a little bit sluggish from the Scots, but poetry in motion, the Jamaican quartet, and they will be smarting after finishing second to the United States in Eugene. But despite the fact that we've got great teams going in the second of the heats, England as the defending champions, the Jamaicans would surely line up as the joint favourites at least.
And England, well, they've swapped victories at the Commonwealth Games with Jamaica. The last four editions have gone Jamaica, England, Jamaica, England. Jamaicans, of course, as Rob rightly pointed out, can break through by right.
The women's 4x100m relay heat at the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham delivered an exciting demonstration of elite sprinting, precise teamwork, and the immense pride that comes with representing one's nation on the international stage. Taking place at the iconic Alexander Stadium, the opening semi-final heat featured a diverse lineup of teams: Jamaica, India, Scotland, Singapore, Malta, and the Maldives. Each squad stepped onto the track with a different objective, some aiming simply to gain experience at a major championship, while others were determined to fight for a place in the final. Among all the teams present, Jamaica immediately stood out as the overwhelming favorite. Their rich sprinting tradition and remarkable relay history made them the team everyone else was watching. The Jamaican quartet, featuring Nelson, White, Burchil, and McGregor, entered the race with immense expectations. Jamaica had long been synonymous with world-class sprinting, producing Olympic champions, world record holders, and countless global medalists. That legacy added pressure but also confidence, as the team knew they possessed the raw speed and relay experience needed to dominate. Still, the other nations were not simply there to watch Jamaica run away with the race. Teams like India and Scotland approached the semi-final with ambition and determination. For them, competing against one of the greatest sprinting nations in history was both a challenge and an opportunity. A strong performance in this heat could secure a place in the final and potentially elevate their standing on the global athletic stage. As the athletes settled into their starting blocks, the energy inside Alexander Stadium grew noticeably louder. The crowd sensed the importance of the moment. Relay races always bring an extra level of tension, because success depends not only on individual speed, but also on flawless baton exchanges and perfect timing. Even the fastest teams can lose precious time, or even face disqualification, if their handoffs are poorly executed. When the starter's gun fired, the race immediately burst into life. Jamaica's first-leg runner, Nelson, reacted sharply and powered out of the blocks with impressive acceleration. Within just a few strides, she began to assert Jamaica's presence in the race, gradually opening a slight advantage over Scotland in the neighbouring lane. Her powerful stride and smooth sprint mechanics allowed Jamaica to establish early momentum. However, the race remained competitive during the opening phase. Scotland stayed close, refusing to let the Jamaicans escape too quickly, while India also demonstrated impressive early speed. Their first runner held position well and kept the team firmly in contention as the athletes approached the first exchange zone. The baton exchange is often the defining moment in relay races, and Jamaica's first handoff reflected both composure and discipline. Although the exchange between Nelson and White was not the fastest seen at the championship, it was clean, controlled, and efficient. In relay racing, avoiding mistakes is often more valuable than attempting overly aggressive exchanges that risk disaster. Meanwhile, Scotland executed their own exchange smoothly, maintaining pressure on the Jamaican team. India also delivered a strong transition, showing that they had prepared carefully for this moment. Their coordination and timing ensured they remained competitive as the race moved into its crucial middle phase. By this stage, the crowd could already sense that Jamaica's superior sprinting depth was beginning to shape the outcome. Even though the early exchanges had been relatively close, the Jamaican runners looked composed, confident, and increasingly powerful with every stride. The stage was set for the remainder of the race, where speed, rhythm, and flawless teamwork would ultimately decide which teams advanced to the final.